Ariel Helwani at the Acer Arena in Sydney, Australia, getting set for UFC 127 alongside UFC President Dana White. And Dana, the fans thought you were avoiding us. It's 24 hours before the event. Still no pre-fight interview, but we finally tracked you down. Good to see you. How is Australia treating you so far?
Why would I be avoiding you?
Well, usually they're used to maybe 3 or 4 days before the event, and then a couple things happened a few weeks ago, so they thought maybe there was a rift.
You've been hanging out at the beach, surfing and doing whatever the hell you've been doing here for a week.
Dana White interview here, beach with the Octagon girls there.
I agree. I can't disagree with that.
So how's Australia?
Awesome. It's been great. Actually, I got here yesterday, was my first day, and got here early at 9:30 in the morning. I can't believe how much stuff I did in one day. But it's great. I feel great and love it here. I wish we could do fights here all the time.
Do you feel the same kind of buzz for this event as the first one a year ago?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the weigh-ins today were jam-packed. The people were going crazy. Obviously, the Bisping-Rivera stuff gets people fired up, and, people are excited for Fitch and Penn.
Let's start right there, actually. Rivera, a very quiet guy throughout his career. Then he put out these videos. I don't know if you saw them, but definitely have gotten under Michael Bisping's skin. Do you think that will be actually to Bisping's detriment, the fact that he's so riled up and is taking this so personally?
I don't know. My thing with personal fights, when there's all this talking and going back and forth, is a lot of times those fights end up sucking. But stylistically, I like this fight. I think. Obviously Rivera knocks people out. He loves to bang. Bisping likes to stand up too. But I see Bisping. I see these guys trading. I see Bisping looking to take this thing to the ground. But anytime, it's so rare that guys hate each other this much in mixed martial arts and in the UFC. So when it does happen, people have fun with it.
You surprised to see Rivera enjoying this sort of second moment in his career?
Well, he's always been a tough guy and has always been in the fold. He's had some real devastating things happen in his personal life. I'm actually happy to see him, back 100% and feeling great.
Bisping says if he wins this fight, then wins another, he should get a title shot. Do you agree?
We'll see. We'll see what happens. At 185 pounds right now, Okami deserves a title shot. I got to see how all this stuff plays out and what happens, and we'll figure it out.
So you haven't decided about what to do with Okami, right?
No, not yet. But more than likely, Okami will fight. We'll fight and then fight for the title.
Okay, let's talk about the main event, Fitch and Penn. In your opinion, such an interesting fight. Who has more pressure going into this one?
God, I think there's pressure on both of them. Obviously, BJ wants to perform. BJ's not ready to retire yet. So in my opinion, for BJ not to retire, BJ is going to have to beat Fitch. He left the 55-pound division, has moved up to 70, looked good against Hughes. And if he goes out and beats Fitch, BJ Penn is back. And obviously for Fitch to take out a big name like Penn, this kid's just clamoring for a title. He wants this title shot so bad.
If he beats Penn, does he deserve a title shot, a second crack at the title?
Well, I mean, a lot of people will say to you, oh, BJ Penn just moved back to 170s, this, that, and everything. Dude, BJ Penn's one of the best fighters of all time. Let's face the facts. BJ and I haven't always seen eye to eye and haven't had, the greatest of relationships over the last 10 years. But you can't deny who BJ Penn is and what he's done and what he's capable of doing.
So if Fitch does beat him, do you think he should be number one contender?
And there's a whole list of guys he beat before BJ.
Right. So you do agree with that?
I do.
Despite the fact that he hasn't finished anyone impressively up to this fight.
Yeah, I love when people say that. Listen, you can't go out and have a knockout every time you fight, and sometimes some guys are just, that's their style. They go out and they win fights. It's like saying, a golfer, he's one of the best golfers in the world, but he didn't get a hole in one every time. It is what it is. This is the style. People always talk about him not being a big fan favorite. His fights are boring. He lays on top of people. He doesn't finish. And when I was asking everybody for the predictions, everybody was like, Fitch by decision. And that's what he's become known for. And who knows, maybe Fitch will turn it around and, I don't know, start knocking people out or submitting them. But you can't deny that the guy's one of the best in the world.
By the way, Brock Lesnar looks like he's like 5 times your size when you're sitting on the couch there. That was impressive.
Both of those guys. I mean, Dos Santos is huge. He's huge. These guys are monsters.
All right, so is it set in stone that the winner of this fight will fight for the title, or do you really have to see what happens on April 29th and April 30th at UFC 129?
Right, yeah, I have no clue. We'll see what happens. We'll see how this whole thing plays out, but this fight, on Saturday night is a big deal in the 170-pound division.
How is your relationship like with BJ these days?
It's cool. Me and BJ, I see him and we're cool and everything else. We have this weird relationship. Yesterday when we were on the beach and I bumped into them, his lawyer is like, "Oh, I didn't know you were such good friends with Tiki. We wouldn't have said all that bad stuff about you." I'm like, I read it all in the book anyway. What, you said more that you didn't put in the book?
What does Tiki have to do with it?
Tiki's helping BJ.
Right, but I mean, that doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Because me and Tiki are friends, so just his way of trying to be funny, and
George Sotiropoulos, the hometown favorite, the home country favorite here. A lot of people here, and talking to the fans, say he deserves a title shot already. If he wins this fight, he's 8-0 in the UFC. That's pretty impressive. How far do you think he is?
He's a stud. I'm actually a huge fan of Sotiropoulos. What I love about him is a lot of people, you'll see fights that are stand-up wars and people going at it. He does that on the ground. He's one of these guys that puts on incredible jiu-jitsu ground fights against some of the best in the world. And this is an interesting fight for him. In my opinion, I'm no coach, and I'm not telling anybody the game plan, but if I was him, I'd try to get this fight to the ground as fast as I can. But you never know. Let's see what he's got. Stylistically, I love this fight, too.
All right, we'll end.
And I don't know if I answered your question. The kid has ripped off a bunch of wins. Right. He's in the mix. That's a horrible division to be in because there's so many talented guys at that weight. But he's definitely one of the best, and he's definitely in line for a title shot. He's got to win Saturday, of course.
Pettis, Guida, all those guys,
Exactly.
Jim Miller. There's a lot of guys in that division that are very hot right now. Just final question. It's been a few weeks since we've talked to you. We never got your thoughts on your friend Fedor Emelianenko's loss. So I was just wondering what you thought about his performance a couple weeks ago in New Jersey.
Yeah, I've been saying it for a long time. I've had all these goofy reporters arguing with me and everything else about where this guy stands in the pound for pound list, and his fans just need to deal with it. Deal with the fact that he's not one of the best in the world. He's not. It's over. And as great as this guy was, it's what I was saying. All that was back in 2005. It's not 2005 anymore. The guy's been inactive, hasn't fought anybody good in a long time, and he looks old, and it's over. It is what it is.
He's lost 2 fights in a row. If they came to you right now and said, forget about all the co-promotion stuff, we just want to have a fight in the UFC, do you even do it at this point?
The biggest problem is that what all of you can't seem to understand, and I don't know what it was, if I acted like these idiots act, Vadim and these guys, you can't do business with these people. You just can't do business with them. And they've made it very clear, even before he got beat up twice, that they don't want to fight the guys in the UFC. They don't want to. Why would you want to come in here? You saw what happened to him the last 2 fights. Why would you want to come in here and fight these heavyweights when you can go over there and make, you can make a couple $1 million getting beat up by guys that aren't that good?
All right, we'll leave it at that. UFC 127 goes down Sunday afternoon here in Sydney, Australia. But don't forget, and as you guys have been reminding everyone all week long, it is live on pay-per-view, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Back home in the United States, same situation as always. Of course, John Fitch versus BJ Penn and Michael Bisping versus Jorge Rivera. Yes, Dana.
And the prelims on Ion TV for free.
And Facebook.
And Facebook.
What else you got?
That's it.
That's it. UFC 127 goes down tomorrow night.